Now we're moving on, still the number system. Number one, simplify. Just remember that simplify, you are not going to figure out what x equals. You are just going to simplify the expression. This particular problem has to do with the distributive property. We see this -3. We're going to be multiplying it by the contents of these parentheses. So there's a couple ways I've taught to do this. You could take -3 and multiply times x, and -3 and multiply by -8, and you can just do it like this. -3 times x would be -3x, and you would say -3 times -8, a negative times a negative would be a positive, that'd be plus 24. Now that's kind of tricky for some people because of this sign in the middle. They kind of want to just do the -3 times the 8 and leave the sign. The other way that I've shown to do this is to create a box. So you have -3 and you have a box here. And really what you're doing is you're finding the area of this box. So this little section is an x, you don't know what it is, and this section is a -8. So you just multiply -3 times x and you get -3x again, just like you did before. And -3 times -8, see that negative is taken care of here? So -3 times -8 is again positive 24. So then you have to take it out of the box. You can't just leave it this way. So you have to take it out, so -3x. And since this is positive 24, it is plus 24. That has been simplified. You cannot put -3x and 24 together because they are different terms. One is a variable term and one is a constant term. Over here, we have the distributive property again. However, this time the single number is on the other side, and that's fine. It doesn't change anything. You can again multiply and multiply. So again, I kind of like doing the one that's closest first, just because that's how I did it over here. So what I'm going to do is -9 times -x, which makes that positive 9x. And you have -9 times 4, which is -36. One negative makes it negative. Let's come over here. Katie made 1/2 gallon of lemonade, and each glass holds 1/2 of a pint. How many glasses can she fill? This, we kind of have to go back to 4th grade and remember our volume measurements. So let's go back and think, my gallon. So I have my gallon, and we remember we have 4 quarts in a gallon. And then each quart has 2 pints, 2 pints, 2 pints, 2 pints, okay? So when we go to do this, you made 1/2 of a gallon, okay? So you've made 1/2 of this, 1/2 of a gallon. So here's what you're working with. And each glass holds 1/2 of a pint. How many glasses can she fill? Well, each one of these is a pint, but she can only fill 1/2 of them with a glass, so you have to double these. So you have 4 pints, which means she can fill 8 glasses. She can fill 8 glasses. And I understand we didn't do any math where we computed anything. However, this picture represents working out the problem. Down here, we're going to divide. It says divide, but it's a fraction. So again, before we do anything, we're going to create a improper fraction. So remember what we did before. We multiplied and we added. So let's go back. 5 times 5, multiplying 25, plus 2, 26, 27. 27 over 5. Again here, divided by. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 more is 12. 12 fifths. Okay. Now we're dividing. And I know we remembered when we divide, we have to flip this second number. So we have 27 fifths. You leave the first number by itself. You change this to multiplication. Some people say keep, change, flip. I learned copy dot flip. Either way, you are finding the opposite, the reciprocal of this. So you're flipping it 5 over 12. Now you can just multiply this across, but you can also cancel out the 5. That turns into a 1, and that turns into a 1. So 27 times 1 is 27, and 12 times 1 is 12. So this answer is correct. However, you're probably going to be asked to create a mixed number. So we're going to divide 12 into 27, and it can go 2 times. That's 24 with 3 left over. Okay. And then now this can be further simplified to 2 and 1, 4. Write 2/9 as a decimal. We work on this in the number system, we work on this with proportions, and we also work on this with probability. So you're going to see this skill come up a lot of times. So in order to find this as a decimal, you're going to remember a fraction is just multiplication, just division that hasn't happened yet. So it is showing you 2 divided by 9. So plug 2 divided by 9 into the calculator, and you get a decimal. You get a repeating decimal. It's 0.22 repeating. So that is your decimal. We're going to go to 2 decimal places there. If you have to do this by hand, what you would do is you would take 2, oops, sorry about that. Take 9 divided it into the 2. So you would find that it goes into 2 0 times, and it can go into 22 times. That's 18. And then you get 2 again, and that's why it's repeating. So that's how you would do it by hand with the long division, or you can use the calculator.